Welcome to Herd Mentality, a podcast from StoneX where we discuss global dairy markets and what's driving them. Remember that the trading of derivatives such as futures, options, and over-the-counter products or swaps may not be suitable for all investors. Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss, and past results are not necessarily indicative of future results. We're recording this on Wednesday, April 2nd. With me this week is Florian Hildebrand. He's based in our Frankfurt, Germany office. And I wanted to have him on to talk about the foot and mouth situation in Europe. We did a podcast back in January when the first, or the most recent, I guess, case had popped up in Germany. But I was on vacation last week. I wasn't paying a lot of attention to the markets, but I know there were a number of new cases of foot and mouth found in Europe. So Florian, how many cases are we up to and where are they located?
Yeah, hi Nate. Thank you for having me, and I hope you had a nice break last week. Yeah, when it comes to FMB, we have in total at the moment 7 cases in East Europe, 2 cases in Hungary, and 5 cases in total in Slovakia. And it started at the 6th of March in Hungary with a case, and then around about 3 weeks, or let's say better 15 days later, there was a new outbreak in Slovakia. In total, 5 cases here, 4 more or less at the same time. And then there was the last one at the end of March, at the 30th of March. And this was, to be honest, the biggest case in the region because it was a really big farm. We're talking here about around about 3,000 cows, 150 heifers, 600 calves. They were affected by the FMB disease. And the other very concerning situation is that this big farm is really close to the border to Austria, only 30 kilometers away. This is more or less nothing. So it is an intensive situation here at the moment in East Europe.
And I think when I looked at a map, the 2 cases in Hungary and 4 out of the 5 cases in Slovakia were grouped relatively close to each other, but that most recent one in Slovakia is a good distance away from the other cases. And obviously, all of these are a good distance away from that case that was in Germany. Do you know if there's any connection between the German case and these new cases in Eastern Europe?
No, there is, to be honest, no connection between the case in Germany and in Slovakia or in Hungary. There was some rumor around the fact that the last case in Germany, that this was a strain coming from Turkey or the Middle East, and also now in the situation in East Europe, we also see that this it's called O strain. It's coming from the Middle East, Turkey. So this is not a connection. This is only in fact, but there is definitely no connection between the German outbreak in January and now the outbreak at the beginning of March or at the end of March here in East Europe. So no, definitely no connection.
When this case showed up in Hungary, I did the math, and it was only something like 1.5% of Europe's milk production is coming from Hungary and Slovakia. Now that kind of Austria is in play, I haven't done the math if we include Austria in that. But I mean, what kind of impact are we seeing in terms of milk production?
The main impact is, I think, definitely on the spot market here. I heard from a few traders that there was there was a negative impact on scheduled loadings for spot milk. this was an impact here. Let's say when FMD spread over to Austria, for example, it will definitely have an impact on the West European dairy market, because Germany, for example, they're buying a lot of organic milk in Austria. So if we will have FMD in Austria, then it definitely has an impact here on the German market as well, or in general on the spot market. But I think the impact in general on the market, you can't compare it with the situation in January, where the biggest European producer, Germany, had an outbreak of FMD. So the concern is that FMD will spread around in the region, and this has an effect on other big countries like Poland, Czech Republic, Germany, etc. But when you compare the milk production numbers from Germany or from Hungary and Slovakia, you can't compare it, because these are different levels of production. Because yeah, the countries in East Europe, they are much more smaller when it comes to the milk production compared with Germany, for example.
So when they find a farm that has been infected with FMD, they euthanize all of the animals on that farm to control the spread, and they euthanize all the animals on nearby farms, susceptible animals. These are cloven hoofed animals on nearby farms to control the spread as well. So there is some small supply side impact from these 8 cases that have been found in the past 3 months. But it seems like most of the impact to the markets is really on the demand side, with countries unwilling to buy raw milk from, or even other dairy products from areas that have had recent FMD cases. So it's possible that if FMD spread into, say, Austria or into Poland, that milk prices in Germany and France could actually increase, as they're not able to buy, or they're unwilling to buy product from more Eastern countries.
Yes, this can happen. We see in the market that countries like Poland or Czech Republic, for example, they ban products from Slovakia, Hungary, and at the same time, we see that end users, for example, they are not buying products from Slovakia or from Hungary, and they are more looking into products were produced far away from these FMD areas. And also what we see is an increase in certificates from vets or other authorities to make sure, okay, we are not buying here dairy products or raw milk from these affected areas. So we can see this, and this has an impact on the market here. But as you said, I think at the moment it's a little, from a supply side, it's only a small effect. It's more that end users are not buying these products, or countries, as I said, Poland, Czech Republic, for example, they banned these products. And yeah, at the same time, the authorities, they, especially in Poland, Czech Republic, for example, they're using sometimes the police or the army to make sure that nobody is coming without the right quarantine protocols with trucks, etc., into countries like Poland, etc. And also the access to farms is really limited. Only a few people they can yeah, they can visit these farms in Poland or Czech Republic to make sure that there is no FMD coming from outside of these farms into the farms.
Now, this week we saw GDT prices increase more than expected. We've seen some strength show up in U.S. non-fat dried milk and dry whey. If importers are concerned that they're not going to be able to import European product because of a lack of health certificate due to FMD, it's very possible that they could shift their buying towards other exporting regions. Have you heard anything in terms of countries blocking product out of Europe because of FMD?
No, I heard nothing about this. But when it comes to products like powder, for example, one when it comes to products like powder, for example, we saw it at the outbreak in Germany that at the beginning there was a lot of uncertainty. Is it allowed to export skim milk powder? Yes or no? But in the end, skim milk powder it's pasteurized and it's a heat-treated product. So there was no problem with exporting these products into specific countries. And I expect something similar, that there is not a big, yes, there is some, let's say, it can happen that some countries will stop the import of these products. We saw this with China and German products, for example. But I can imagine other countries, they don't have these strict rules on the product here.
All right. Well, fingers crossed we get this outbreak under control and it doesn't spread further. Thank you for your time today, Florian.
Yeah, thank you, Nate. Thank you for the invitation. And yeah, you are right. Hopefully now everything's under control. And I mean, the positive signal is for the last 4 days, we had no new case. So let's hope that this is a positive signal here.
The StoneX Dairy team spans the US, EU, Asia, and Oceania, providing market intelligence, analysis, and forecasts through our interactive data platform called StoneX Plus, as well as full-service brokerage on the major dairy exchanges, the CME, EEX, and SGX. If you're interested in finding out more about our market intelligence or brokerage services, you can find more information on stonex.com.
This communication is issued in the European Economic Area by StoneX Financial Europe SA, SFE by the SFE presenters noted. StoneX is the trade name used by StoneX Group Inc. and all its associated entities and subsidiaries. StoneX Group Inc. companies provide financial services worldwide through its subsidiaries, including physical commodities, securities, exchange traded and over-the-counter, under derivatives, risk management, global payments, and foreign exchange products in accordance with applicable law in the jurisdictions where services are provided. References to certain over-the-counter products or swaps are made on behalf of StoneX Markets, LLC SXM, a member of the National Futures Association NFA and provisionally registered with the U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission CFTC as a swap dealer. SXM products are designed only for individuals or firms who qualify under CFTC rules as an eligible contract participant (ACPAT) and who have been accepted as customers of SXM. Wealth management is offered through SA Stone Wealth Management Inc., member FINRA/SIPC, and SA Stone Investment Advisors Inc., and SEC registered investment advisor, both wholly owned subsidiaries of StoneX Group Inc. StoneX Financial Limited SFL is registered in England and Wales. Company No. 5,616,586. SFL is authorized and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority registration number FRN 446,717 to provide to professional and eligible customers including arrangement, execution and, where required, clearing derivative transactions in exchange-traded futures and options. SFL is also authorized to engage in the arrangement and execution of transactions in certain OTC products, certain securities trading, precious metals trading and payment services to eligible customers. SFL is authorized regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority under the Payment Services Regulations 2017 for the provision of payment services. SFL is a Category 1 ring dealing member of the London Metal Exchange. In addition, SFL also engages in other physically delivered commodities business and other general business activities which are unregulated and not required to be authorized by the Financial Conduct Authority. StoneX Financial Europe SA, SFE, is a securities trading firm registered in the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg under Company No. RC Lux B 10821. SFE is authorized by the Luxembourg Ministry of Finance and regulated by the Commission de Surveillance du Secteur Financier Registration No. P00000 to carry out, inter alia, the activities of investment advisor, portfolio manager, professional acting on own account, broker in financial instruments, and commission agent. StoneX Financial Pte Ltd Co. Reg. No. 2011305988R SFP is regulated by the Monetary Authority of Singapore and is a capital market service licensee for dealing in capital market products, an exempt financial advisor for advising on investment products and issuing or promulgating analyses/reports on investment products, and a major payment institution for cross-border money transfer service. StoneX Financial HK Limited C. No. BCQ 152 SHK is regulated by by the Hong Kong Securities and Futures Commission for dealing in futures contracts. StoneX Group Inc. acts as agent for SFL in New York with respect to its payment services business. StoneX Financial Thai Limited, SFA Akin, 141774727 holds an Australian financial service license and is regulated by the Australian Securities and Investments Commission AFSL 345646. StoneX Securities Co. Limited, SSJ Co. Reg. No 0104010471999 is regulated by the Japanese Financial Ser. ISIS Agency as a Type I Financial Instruments Business Operator Kanto Local Finance Bureau FIBO No. 291 is a member of the Financial Futures Association of Japan for dealing and broking FX and FX option transactions, and is a member of the Japan Securities Dealers Association for dealing and broking stock indices and option transactions. The information herein is not a recommendation to trade nor investment research or an offer to buy or sell any financial product. It does not take into account your particular investment objectives, financial situation, or needs and does not create a binding obligation on any of the StoneX Group Inc. of companies to enter into any transaction with you. You are advised to perform an independent investigation of any transaction to determine whether any transaction is suitable for you. This material should be construed as the solicitation of an account, order, and / or services provided by the FCM division of StoneX Financial Inc., SFI NFAID 0476094 or StoneX Markets LLC SXM NFAID 0449652 and represents the opinions and viewpoints of the individual authors or presenters and does not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of SFI or SXM. It does not constitute an individualized recommendation or take into account the particular trading objectives, financial situations, or needs of individual customers. Additionally, this material should not be construed as research material. The trading of derivatives such as futures, options, and over-the-counter OC products or swaps may not be suitable for all investors. Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss, and you should fully understand the risks prior to trading. Past results are not necessarily indicative of future results. All references to and discussion of OTC products or swaps are made solely on behalf of SXM. All references to futures and options on futures trading are made solely on behalf of SFI. SXM products are intended to be traded only by individuals or firms who qualify under CFTC rules as an eligible contract participant ACPA and who have been accepted as customers of SXM. SFI and SXM are not responsible for any redistribution of this material by third parties or any trading decisions taken by persons not intended to view this material. Information contained herein was obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but is not guaranteed as to its accuracy. Contact designated personnel from SFI or SXM for specific trading advice to meet your trading preferences. SFP may distribute analysis/report produced by its respective foreign affiliates within the StoneX Group of companies pursuant to an arrangement under Regulation 32C of the Financial Advisors Regulations. Recipients should contact SFP at 656-309-1000 for any matters arising from or in connection with this podcast. No part of this material may be copied or duplicated in any form by any means or redistributed without the prior written consent of StoneX Group Inc. The podcast herein is not directed to or intended for distribution to or use by any person or entity who is a citizen or resident of or located in any locality, state, country, or other jurisdiction where such distribution, publication, availability, or use would be contrary to law or regulation. Copyright 2024 StoneX Group Inc. All rights reserved.